Greetings and welcome, family. Thanks for stopping by for another episode of Roadtripja, the heartbeat of Jamaica's roads. To navigate you through the experience is Dr. A, your excursion extraordinaire and guide. Today we will be covering some news articles dating back in 2019 concerning the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. News articles like the South Coast Highway Improvement Project on track, which it was not. Time come, South Coast Highway Project goes to tender this week, behind schedule. Tender process for the Southern Coastal Highway Project to begin shortly, which was relative. South Coast Highway work to begin shortly, says PM, which is confirming the first article, and so much more. If this is something that you're interested in experiencing, stick around, soon come. Thanks for choosing to stay for the experience. Know that we are all here. If you have not yet subscribed to the Roadtripja channel, please feel free to do so and ensure you turn your notification on to all so you will be notified on every occasion of a release without exception. If our conversation added any value or even a new perspective, please indicate by turning the like button blue. To have a conversation with us, you can do so in the VIP section, the comments, and don't forget to share so others can become a part of the family. If you want to have private conversation, you can email us at roadtripja.jm@gmail.com. It's now that time again. It is time to get active. We're in the year 2019. Our first article in this year in our sequential article flow is article number 8, captioned South Coast Highway Improvement Project on track. This article came to us from the Jamaica Information Service out of the Office of the Prime Minister, dated January 28, 2019, the year when the wheels on this mobile began to roll. And the article states to us, the South Coast Highway Improvement Project remains a priority of the government. It says, coming out of the recently held cabinet retreat, it was directed that the tender for the first 5 subcontracts to be carried out by local contractors be issued before the end of 2018-2019 financial year. The other 10 packages will be completed over a 2-year period. And the outlined priority areas were Hardley to Long Road, 4.1 kilometers at a cost of $2.3 million. Manganiel to Fair Prospect, 8.8 kilometers at a cost of $5.1 million. Morant Bay to Surge Island, 14.7 kilometers at a cost of $5.1 million. Surge Island to Cedar Valley, 11.7 kilometers at a cost of $5.5 million. Morant Bay to Prospect, 8.9 kilometers at a cost of $4.8 million. The most extensive chunk of the work, the highway from Harborview to Yallus, will be done by the China Harbor Engineering Company, CHEC, and the final design work will be completed in 6 months and work will commence by the end of the year. So they have submitted designs before. However, these designs have to be modified, edited, and justified, and if there are changes, those things have to be taken into consideration. But based on the final agreement, they indicated that they will be producing the final design within 6 months, which takes us to June, providing that all is well. And if we give them a little buffer of 6 months starting at the end of January, it will take them to July. Hence, the work is expected to commence at the end of the year, which means that they would need another maybe 4 to 5 months to get themselves in order before the work commences at the end of 2019. But we all know how that went. We'll now jump over to our next article. It says, time come, South Coast Highway Project goes to tender this week. And this article comes to us from the Jamaica Gleaner on February 18, 2019. The article states to us that 5 subcontracts valued at more than $22 million are to go to tender this week for road work in St. Thomas and Portland. According to Government Minister Darrell Vaz, This following the allocation of more than 8.4 billion in the 2019-2020 budget. The government made the allocation to funds its ambitious plan to rehabilitate more than 100 kilometers of roadway across the eastern end of the island. This represents the South Coast Highway Improvement Project SCIP, which has been in the pipeline for some time now, which has been a very, very long time, since 2011. It seems as though this pipeline was really long because this project came to our knowledge in 2011 based on research we have done so far, and it was in the pipeline until that time. It only started flowing out of the pipeline in 2020. But who to tell that it was not in the pipeline before we knew about it? But we will keep searching and keep you up to date. The article went on to say that a subcontractor is to be selected by mid-March. It is February and they are trying to find a contractor by mid-March. Further, VAS said work on the proposed highway from Harborview in St. Andrew to Yalis in St. Thomas is set to commence by the end of the year, which has been reiterated on multiple occasions. Czech China Harbour Engineering Company will complete the design work for the highway, which will take approximately 6 months, so that highway will start by the end of the year. VAS at this time is basically repeating what was stated before from the office of the Prime Minister. So this is not really new information, but it's just information to let you know that hey, we remember what we said and we're going to try to fulfill the obligations. In recent months, residents in several communities across St. Thomas have staged a series of protest action to draw attention to the poor road conditions in the parish. The announcement by VAS could be welcome news for residents and business operators who saw the SCIP derailed last year, which would have been 2018, after 3.1 billion was slashed from the 3.6 billion allocation, which means the government said, hey, we need more money to do other things which are more important than giving the people of St. Thomas roads. So we're going to take away 3.1 billion out of 3.6 billion dollars that we had allocated to them, which means that would leave 0.5 billion in the kitty set aside for road work, which based on the projection could not have done what needed to be done. However, this money will come in handy closer to the time of election when road work started to ramp up, as we will see as time progresses. So these are strategic moves that were made. Nevertheless, let us follow the news. VAS conceded that for decades infrastructure development has eluded St. Thomas and Portland, but insists that the SCIP will be the game changer for both parishes. He explained too that the SCIP was delayed last year because of protecting negotiation with China Exim Bank and the Jamaica Finance Minister. China Exim Bank changed the terms and conditions of the previous loan agreement, VAS explained. And we have to understand that the China Bank is a bank that is there to do business. And when inflation takes over, it means that the value of the money is decreased, which means now that as time progresses, what costs $1,000 may cost $3,000. So indeed, the loan agreement had to be changed because they are going to need more money in order to fund the project based on the amount of time that would have elapsed over the years. The news article continues and says that 4 of the 5 subcontractors set to go to tender next week are for the roadway between Morant Bay and Surge, valued at US $5.1 million, Surge Island and Cedar Valley, valued at $5.5 million, Morant Bay and Prospect, valued at $4.8 million, Hardley and Long Road, valued at $2.3 million, all in St. Thomas. The other subcontractor is for the strip of road between Manchneel and Fair Prospects in Portland, valued at $5.1 million. At least the people can be contented to know that allocations have been made and the values are remaining consistent from one month to another. The article went further to say that according to VAS, they are among 15 road packages between St. Thomas and Portland that are to be subcontracted by Czech to local contractors, which means that Czech has the main contract. They are going to be covering the majority of the infrastructure development, and then what they are going to do, they are going to allow other contractors to work on their behalf to complete the rest of the road. But overall, they are the ones who basically has to oversee to a degree the road work that is being taking place. The good thing about this is that these contracts have been put in place, so local development companies will benefit to a degree, not as much as the China Harbor company, but a portion of the money will remain in local hands, which means that the velocity of money can increase locally. Because if we understand about the Chinese dynamics and money flow, whatever money they receive from Jamaica go right back into their country. They keep the mere minimum in Jamaica. So we have to understand that it is the people of Jamaica who, when you buy a service, utilize a service, you pay for it and the money continues to flow. That is how the money velocity works, and that is how people feel and become more wealthy. And this is the principle that the Jews use to ensure that wealth remains within the Jewish community. But that is a conversation for another time. Let us move expeditiously to another article, which says, tender process for Southern Coastal Highway project to begin shortly. So this now is March 20, 2019, and this article was written by Latonia Linton. We'll go through a few of the details. It says the tender process for the local component of construction work under the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project (SCIP) is slated to begin shortly. Prime Minister the Most Honorable Andrew Holness made the disclosure during his presentation in the 2019-2020 budget debate in the House of Representatives on March 19, 2019. SCIP is part of the government's strategic development plan for unlocking the growth prospects of the South Coast by connecting Negril, Westmoreland to Port Antonio, Portland via a modern highway system which is slated to run through St. Thomas. It is stated that the construction of the highway will enable easier travel around the island, enabling sustainable utilization of existing natural resources and provide for the future development of the island's tourist economy. So if we're understanding clearly, they are basically saying that they want to turn or transform St. Thomas into another tourist destination. That is their idea based on what they have been reporting. And St. Thomas is caught in the middle because they are trying to actually connect Negril to Portland. But in order to get there from another route and another angle, St. Thomas falls in the middle, and hence St. Thomas will be a beneficiary of the road network. The article went on further to say that he informed that the design work, land acquisition, and interagency coordination, particularly between the National Workers Agency (NWA) and the National Water Commission (NWC), are far advanced. Who knows? Civil work are anticipated to commence in the first quarter of fiscal year 2019-2020 under 5 contract packages, which we made mention earlier of. The article then indicated to us that each road package is expected to have a duration of 14 months. And given that the road package will start on various times, the total life of the project is expected to be 36 months. That was stated by the Prime Minister. So 36 months divided by 12 equates to approximately 3 years. Based on the time that we are in the year 2019. 3 years plus 2019 equal 2022 if all goes well. But we are going to give them grace, being that we know that the project actually started in 2020. So by 2023, we are expecting that the work should be completed. I want you to bear these costs in mind. SCIP entails the construction of 16 kilometers 4-lane highway with safety barriers from Harborview to Yalas. And this will be undertaken by China Harbor Engineering Company, Czech, at a cost of $110 million, which is approximately about $17 billion based on the exchange rate of 157. It then goes to to say 96 kilometers of road will be rehabilitated from Yallah's Bridge, St. Thomas to Port Antonio in eastern Portland along the existing road alignment to reduce corners, improve safety and open up access to the island, which may be of touristic value. The work will be supervised by the National Works Agency, as it is a main road. It's usually supervised by them, and executed by a local contractor under subcontract from Czech. That's very important to hear. It says, and executed by local contractors under subcontracts from Czech. I want you to think about that. At a cost of $74 million, according to the Prime Minister, which is just about 11 billion Jamaican dollars. He said that the project also includes the renovation of 6 kilometers of road from Mark Bay to Cedar Valley by local contractors under the subcontract Czech. The value of it US $11.4 million. So the local contractors have easy access to 1.7 billion Jamaican dollars for rehabilitation work. So in the year 2019, it seems as though they are making actual efforts to get the road work done. But you may be wondering, why are they so eager at this time to be getting the road work done? We'll see later on as we get closer to 2020 that the election was in the air. Moving to our next article, the South Coastal Highway work to begin shortly, the Prime Minister reiterated, which is basically a confirmation of the previous article. And this article was written by Paul Clark from The Gleaner, and this was published on March 22nd, 2019. The main part of the article is that Andrew Holness says that it is this government that will give them the road and infrastructure they deserve. In building a new Jamaica, every corner of Jamaica from the east to the west will get a blessing. Alright, so let us just dissect this. We need to remember that this road was already in the pipeline from 2011 when the PNP had been in power. They went through parliament, they did a lot of deliberation. However, this road work didn't get on because the PNP, though they had the majority, they didn't have as much power in order to make this a priority item. Now, the reason for the road work being possible to be executed with such expediency is due to the fact that the JLP have positioned themselves in such a way in Parliament that they have a louder voice in comparison to the opposition. So they have something that we can consider to be leverage, which they will be using to their advantage. So in my estimation, this is a joint effort between the PNP and the JLP. But at the end of the day, we welcome the change, we welcome the improvement. It doesn't matter which party had planted the seed, it don't matter which party watered it. All we care about is that the tree is mature and the fruits are bearing. That's all we care about in the present. Let us see if we have time for one more article. It says performance criteria for the contract to be introduced in public procurement process, and this comes to us in August. This information comes to us from JIS and it's out of the Office of the Prime Minister, which was written by Alice Smith. It says to us that the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, says he has mandated the new procurement authority to develop a policy outline to introduce performance management contracting in the procurement process. He said the introduction of this accountability mechanism will serve to improve how contractors works. Importantly, it says that we know of several contractors who have worked, they don't finish, they don't complete it on time, but yet they come back in the process. So there must be a way within procurement process in which the past performance of contractor feature is the ability to get future work, which is fair if we're going to be transparent, and that is why I think that all the information should be made public. Every dollar that is being spent, we should know exactly where it is going, who is getting what. We need to know all this information so we can hold the government accountable and the government can hold the workers accountable. And this came when the Prime Minister was speaking at the US $195 million, $2.8 billion contract signing ceremony for the South Coast Highway Improvement Project, SKIP, at the Jamaica House on Monday, August 26, 2019. So they were actually signing contracts. August 26, 2019. Let us see if they can get the work done by the end of the year as they expressed. Indeed, this was an informative session, and at this time we will have to pause momentarily. Our news recap and review of the development concerning the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project skip. The saga will continue, and more revelations and changes that you may have not known about will be revealed. However, here at Roadtripja, the heartbeat of Jamaica's road, it is our duty to keep you in the know. Until next time, when we will continue through 2019, closer to the time of election, to see the change and transformation concerning the interests of this road highway project. You don't want to miss it. But for now, walk, drive, and fly good. This is Dr. A, your excursion extraordinaire, signing out. Peace, love, respect.